This is going to be a distracting tutorial. Now, distracting it for some people can be very difficult. You could have different tunes to distract with, different trinkets to distract with, and different ways to distract. Now, there are a lot of ways to distract. You could distract with Bazzy with her infamous there's a bone and feather duster. And then there's the infamous solar distracting, where you have a Bobbit with Toy Kid and Diary and distracts them and circle around with the Twisted. Briny is always up for debate. With her 3 speed, I wouldn't recommend it, but with her 1 stealth, it might be worth. But I would personally put Gordy ahead of Briny, even though they have 1 stamina and 4 speed. The 1 stealth might be worth it if you really have struggled with the other tunes. Now, Pebble is one that most people play as for distractor. Now, he is a really good distractor, but he has 3 stealth, which is his only issue. So you could put on Scrapbook, but losing Dog Touch for just lower stealth, I don't think it's worth. So I'd recommend only using your Bark when you actually need it. And then there's Eclipse, which is a great distractor. Eclipse can just distract in blackouts with ease. It gets a huge boost with stamina and a bit more speed, if I'm not mistaken. And not to mention, you can also solar distract with her. Then there's Goop. Goop's a great distractor. Can grab people into the elevator. Can distract it. Really hard to twist it. And then there's Louie. Louie, in my personal opinion, I'd use him in matchmaking teams, because other times you want to use like in actual runs that you're gonna be in. I'd recommend better trinkets, other than, or not trinkets, a different tune, because Louie, you have to get to 2 hearts, which Pebble's already on 2 hearts by default. But there's a lot of things that it wastes a lot of time. You can't really use medkits that well. You have to get hit to use a med. So you're just constantly getting hit. And to him even be at his max speed, you have to get him to 1 heart, which is very crucial and maybe deadly to some players. Now we got Rudy. Rudy, I would not say is a great distractor. If I'm going to be honest, I would not play Rudy if it weren't for his golden skin. Distracting as Rudy, you can't do a lot with him. He has the base stats. You can solo him technically, or efficiently. The only thing you got going for him is his speed boost. Now another one you can distract as is Flight. Flight is great. Flight, in my opinion, Flight's a survivalist, but they are amazing. Great distraction, great movement speed, not so good stam, and not so good stealth. He has his speed boost for himself though, which is really good. Then there's Sprout. Sprout I wouldn't recommend. Sprout does have good stam and good speed, but other than that, I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it. He's more of a healer than he is a distractor. Now, you can distract, and if people get in your way, you can just heal them back. And then there's Yada. Yada is a great distractor. If it weren't for her having 1 stamina, she would have been great. She's 4 speed and 1 stamina, and you get box of chocolates, 2 stealth too. If it weren't for her 1 stamina, she would have been way higher on this list. or technically it's not a list. If I were to rank, okay, never mind. I'm getting off topic. Then there's Waxwell, which is a great distractor. 2 speed, or 2 stealth, 5 stamina is great. The only problem is 1 stamina is horrible, but his fire and tire too. But if you just complete Dial's floor, he's great. And you're not even supposed to sprint. Now let's get into the trinkets. Those are all the oh, I forgot Cole. Technically, you can also do it with Coco, but once again, same thing as Bazzy. I wouldn't recommend it because, once again, you can only place down 8 bonbons, so you can't even circle it for no reason. And then you only get 4 speed and 2 stam, and you have 4 stealth. Now I say Waxwell's really good because if you just complete Dial 4 and pick both the stamina cards, you have 170 stam, which is the bare minimum for most distractors. Most distractors I'd recommend at least 150. There are a lot of tunes I left off this list, but those tunes I wouldn't really distract as. Like, where's Tisha? I forgot Tisha. So there's Tisha, which Tisha you can distract as, but I wouldn't recommend it for her only having 4 speed, 3 stam, or not 3 stealth, and 2 stam. That's, in my opinion, I would pick others. Now, we're going off to trinkets. If you just want default, I would always pick Speedy Shoes and Dog Crush. That's the default. But if you don't have enough stealth, you can always use Scrapbook. And then there's the infamous Train Whistle. Train Whistle is so good. I would use this trinket for like 5 or 4 speed tuning. If it has 3 speed, use Speedy Shoes. I would not recommend 3 speed Train Whistle. That would not be fast enough. And then there's this one I wouldn't recommend, but you can, because you want to focus more on running than, or not run. You want to focus more on walking than running, because walking should be the thing that you should be worried about. You shouldn't be having to run. Sure, it's good for having to distract, Pebbles or V or main combos, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would prefer Speed Shoes and Dog Crush. You can also use Dog Crush and Pink Bow, but I wouldn't recommend. Now, you can use Bone and Feather Duster for Bazzy, but you have to get the items first, and Bazzy doesn't have a whole lot of stealth. Now, something that is really good is the infamous Bobbette Diary Toolkit. You can solo 2 stealthers by just walking in the opposite direction that they're going. Now, if you struggle with gathering Twizzlers, I'd recommend having a V on your team. Having a V on your team is so good. If you have a V on your team and you struggle finding Twisteds, then you can always just use a V. Now, distracting. If you want to distract, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of other things. You're not going to only have to deal with having to have people steal your Twisteds, which is going to end up happening. People are going to end up taking your Twisteds, and that you need to, be prepared. You have to do some risky jukes. Now, gathering Twisteds, I'd recommend, if you are struggling to keep the Twisteds on you meanwhile gathering, then recommend trying to slow down. I'd recommend slowing down while you're, having to distract and gather the twisteds. I'd recommend trying to slow down. And right here, your block, let's say we get the twisteds. We first need to find the twisted somewhere. Also, don't do what I'm doing right now. I'm just sprinting all of a sudden because I'm trying to make a not too long video. So you want to preserve your stamina. You don't want to be always just sprinting. That's like really bad. You want to just walk. You don't want to sprint. You want to walk like this. You're going to want to kite at fake elevator or an open area. Or you want to kite around an island. If you're wondering what the words kite or island mean, kite is distracting. Islands are these areas, these with boxes and junk. Now, some free flow twisteds might be an actual issue for distractors. Like, let's say, Squirm. Squirm's a distractor person. You really need to watch where you're going with Squirm. Squirm, I recommend you look up every time you have somebody, or you hear somebody take Squirm, or you see somebody take Squirm. Look up, and you could look up every time, just looking up like this, which is really good. Always have your camera looking up if you're really worried or don't want to be grabbed. Now, if you have a backup distractor, this is something I fail at doing. Let them distract. Don't just be on one heart and wait to die to let the backup go. Let them distract. If you're on really low health and want them to distract, then let them distract. There's also different ways to distract. Like this way called jungle distracting. People usually do this with fast twisteds or twisted or gathering twisted. Now let's say blot, another one you need more. If you walk for squat and you have no opening, this is what you should do. Let's say this brother, I'm trying to make a video blot, summon somewhere again. Oh my god. Let's say blot's right here. You want to do this. You want to do a juke. You want to aggro him and then walk the other way so you don't get hit. But it's very hard to do. Like right here, perfect example. You have to do this. Okay, not the best example. You want to do this. Let's say blocks in your way. Blocks in your way. You just have to dodge. Now let's say squirm. You can try to spam your way out, but you're gonna get hit probably, especially if there's a faster. Now let's say you have Pebble. You want to hug an island and to let backup distract the rest. Or if you don't have backup, just let the others roam and say you can't distract. You want to hug the island and distract. Now, let's say you get B. If you get B, if you have Train Whistle, don't even worry. You have nothing to worry about. If you have Astro, you should preserve your stam if you have Astro. You should always preserve your stam. That's something you should always do. And if you have Sprout, try to distract in a more open area, not a cramped area. Let's say these walls are blocked. These two walls here are blocked, and these two walls are also blocked. I would not recommend this distracting area if these two walls were closed in. Let's say you wouldn't really have. I know that that's literally impossible to happen. So I would recommend you distract where there's a more open area, like this area. You can distract in a big open area, so you don't have to worry about Sprout's tendrils hitting you. Let's say this is a tendril. Not that big of an area, and it